Hello React Native developers, I hope you are well. William here, recording from beautiful Zurich, Switzerland. In this video, I want us to finish this screen, which means fix the bug we have here with the graph, do the footer, and then we need to massage the octopus. You've been sending me some great feedback on the code we've already written and on how to improve it, and I want to implement some of this feedback. So for instance, many of you have noticed that the way we do the masonry is completely broken at the moment, right? So we're gonna fix that. And there is also some small fixes I want to do related to navigation. So the fact that we can go back to the login screen here. And a close friend of mine, mentioned that the way I use the theme is completely wrong, and actually the restyle documentation explains it. Here in color, so I should have my color palettes, with my colors. But then in the theme.colors, I should have semantically, so keys which are not names of colors, but really semantic values. And because that's the point, right? We want to change, for instance, if you go to dark mode, or the user can set different values. You don't want to do white equals black. You want something that means something semantically equals a color. So I hope that sounds good. Let's have a look.
You are my sunlight.
So we are back into the code, and I think we had a bug here to count. We wouldn't know how to count the number of months between two dates. And I Googled for it, and I found an answer that I liked with moment. It's funny because first I decide, I'm not going to use D3 because the scaling here is so simple. And then I'm like, I'm not going to use moment. But actually, we did have to use moment. And here it seems like a good way to count the number of months between two dates, date 1, date 2. So this, if this works, this should move September to October. So let me import moment. So 1 is this one, and 2 is start date. When start date is it already okay. So maybe I need to use moment as well, a moment constructor here. Let's see. So now it looks like it works. Okay, interesting. So October, September, yes, perfect. Cool. All right. So that was easy. So now let's add the footer, and here we have a scroll view. Let's fix the formatting here quickly. Okay, transaction. So here we are going to use moment as well. Transaction.date. Format, dot format. And so we should have something like this, day, month, year. Something like this. Let's import. So I think this is the problem. Because it's a default import, VSCode doesn't know how to automatically import it. That's my theory. Okay, cool. Looks good. And yeah, so, we've been doing these curves, shapes, right? I mean, we see it here, for instance. No problem. But here, because we have a scroll view below, we had to use SVG here. So we can see the scroll view actually go here and here. And so here we are in the same case. Transaction history, where we potentially need to use SVG to implement the curve. So transaction history. We need to decide the height on the footer. And so I think I'm just going to use the aspect ratio we have on the design. So maybe if I go into components, asset, yeah, these ones. So I should probably use this aspect ratio. Okay, maybe reveal in Finder. I for sure I have the aspect ratio coded somewhere already, right? I just forgot where. Do I have like a container component? Yeah, that's the one we want. So transaction history. So we have an aspect ratio. Oops. We can get the width from the dimension. And okay. So footer height equals width times aspect ratio. Or as some people, some of you have suggested, I could use the aspect ratio property of React Native directly. We can do that. And here would be width divided by height, I think. Let's try it. And here actually we could do it without importing this guy, I think. So let's put the footer. It's going to be a box with a position absolute. And so left 0, right 0, bottom 0, and height is no. So no height, aspect. I'm not sure if it's going to work with is aspect ratio. I'm not sure if it's going to work with absolute positioning. Background color, primary.
A few moments later.
So this aspect ratio feels very big. I think I'm going to take something much smaller, like 3. And so that looks good. We can put the image now, which we have in components already. So source is require assets, patterns, 3.png. We need to add a style to import the image, of course, from React Native, and add some style. Okay, let's create a style sheet quickly. So style sheet, absolute fill object, and we need to have width undefined and height undefined. Okay. And looks good. So now let's we need the theme. So we need to add the border radius. So I guess, can we use make style? Make styles. And then border top left radius. Oh, okay. That was easy. So I'm using tab 9 as a plugin. That's a plugin that makes all these crazy inferences. And here, okay. And now I guess I can do styles equals use styles. Cool. And now let's add the top, which we did already in favorite outfits. So we have the footer here. So here we had actually a dynamic size. So we used on layout, that's okay. And here we have top curve. And we know here the footer height. So that's exactly what we need. So we probably need to factorize it. Oh no, you know what? So let me copy this guy. We're gonna do a different one because here we have the image pattern. And so actually here, what I can do is really clip also the image and make it fit. So it really looks continuous. But I mean, so the problem is the way we wrote the component, just to make it simple. So we have size here, but then I use the view box of 1, 1. So now if I were to try to position the image and clip it, the calculations would get a bit crazy with the size of the image and everything because of the view box. So I think I'm just gonna, so we have this view box of 1. So I'm just gonna add like 2 shapes, like maybe a circle and a rectangle, clip them with this path. And then I think it will look like the pattern is as a continuation. So oops, I closed VSCode. Okay, so we are back, and here so I'm gonna do top curve, which is gonna be a new, not this one, is gonna be a new component. And actually I still do need footer height for the absolute positioning, so I cannot use aspect ratio here, but I'm gonna create top curve and just copy this component. So first, okay. So footer height is dimensions get window width times, so divided by 3. Okay. And here, actually, so okay. So that's interesting. We have a 1 pixel difference, and I think so we have some rounding done by the React Native here. So I probably need to do, so the line that you see here I think comes from the image. So I'm tempted to do pixel ratio round to nearest pixel, because then we have something round that, no, it doesn't work. So my thinking was to have something that we cannot let React Native rounding. And so it should work. So, that's interesting. And is it? So if I, can I? So let's see if I do one. Yeah, so we see clearly the... So actually we could play with it. So I thought this was the pixel rounding was silly because it's really the image and how the image, like I cannot decide the image to fit. I mean, I didn't do anything, so the image fits here perfectly on one line. So actually that makes sense, right? Because maybe if I put, I don't know, 2.7. Yes, we can cut it at any places. So maybe I do 2.7, I don't know, right? So this is what we see here, but what I can do is, so we have the top curve here, and I mean, we could do background color theme is theme palette primary colors. So that would be background color. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah. So let's do the clipping. So this path here, we're gonna define it as a clip. So in depths, and I think that would be something like clip, path, ID, clip. And then we can start with a rectangle. So I think it should be x0, y0, and then with one height, one fill is theme dot colors dot primary. And we need to apply the clip path, but this is good. And now we apply the clip path. So it would be clip path equals URL ID clip. So now, okay, looks good. And then we can add like maybe an orange circle, right? Yeah, why not? So same story here. Circle. We have a fill here. We can put it orange. And then, so the clip path, definitely. And CX, I don't know, just put some random values, 0.5, 0.5, R equals 0.5. Yeah, looks good. What if I do x equals 0, no. Yeah, and makes or something like this. So here it really feels like the image is like continuous. And now you see it goes nicely over. And here, one last thing we can do. Is here add so content container style. So styles dot scroll view, and scroll view is padding bottom footer height. Let me just add some more just so we can check. 09 01. So you see we have a nice scroll view. I should probably remove the scroll indicator, show vertical scroll indicator false. And okay, let me remove these guys now. So something like this. So now let's fix the masonry, and you've noticed that it was broken. I mean, that looked actually kind of good. What happened? I mean, it's broken because anyways, so it doesn't reorganize itself. I mean, it's actually not that bad, but it's not what we want. And we cannot do it in a pure yoga layout. You have a pure CSS solutions out there, but they rely on CSS modules which are W3C drafts, so we cannot use them in React Native. And so we're gonna do a solution in. So using flex wrap is not gonna be enough, right? Because of the different height in the items. So what we're gonna do is to change the transition, and then later we will implement our own masonry component. So here I'm gonna stop doing the filtering by ID, but really now by index, as it was done originally. And so let's refresh. So I mean, here of course it works, but if I do this, you see it doesn't. So we're gonna change the transition so it's not gonna look as cool for now, but I think it still will make, it's still gonna make sense. And then we will later on we will implement our own components. So type fade. So now we don't animate on change of position because there is no change of positions anymore, because we really, now there is item disappearing and appearing from one column to the other. And so we simply want to animate on. Is that correct? Yeah. So obviously it's not as fancy as we wanted, but it kind of makes sense. And maybe I make a duration. So is there a default duration? This was a bit too slow, huh? So there is some sort of animation, and we will implement our own masonry later on. Now, another thing I want to fix is when I log in, I want to reset the navigation. And so, I mean, first, in order, yeah, okay. What I would like to do actually is to be able here to log out. So if I go to drawer, so we have logout here, and logout shouldn't go to a screen, but should have an action. So we're gonna do on press. And here we need to reset the navigation. So we're gonna pass the navigator as argument. And we need to do something like navigation, dispatch, command, yeah, here it is, command action, reset. I think. That's, yeah, that's what we want. Index 0, name, authentication. So now we need to refactor this element. So we'll have interface is base drawer item. And then we'll have interface is screen drawer item, which extends base drawer item, and it has the screen property. And then we have the same with on press. And here we'll have on press, which has one parameter, which is navigation. I don't think it's typed as something like this. And now we have drawer item props becomes a type, which is screen drawer item or on press drawer item. Okay. So here we have props, and here if it's props dot screen, we do navigation dot navigate navigation. If not, we have props dot on press, and we pass navigation as parameter. And this would be props dot screen. So something like this. Where is the syntax error here? Okay. So the navigation type is incorrect, and here I need a comma. So here, I mean, what we want is return type of use navigation. Okay. Okay, so I could log out. And now if we log in, I don't want to go home. I want to do dispatch. I mean, I want to do the dispatch to home. Up. Okay. And so now I cannot go, so it's reset, I cannot go back to the login page. Just close this one. So that's good. And now there is one thing I would like to do. So if we go to theme, so here we have primary, secondary, danger, text, white. I mean, this one shouldn't even be like with opacity. How can I? We want the color of this when this happens on white. Where is it? So I'm confused. No, yeah. Okay. Okay. So we want it to be a bit lighter, right? That's... So maybe something like this? No. Okay, I'll keep it like this. White is definitely not good. Let me see where it's used. So actually, what I should do. So let me, okay, commit. I should run TypeScript. So I probably have, yeah, I have some TypeScript errors here. Show vertical. So screen in props. Perfect. Okay, so now that TSX is fixed, so here white, let me just see where it's used. So now I want, probably we're gonna rename it to background. And so let me rename it to background. So color is white, and I need to create also, I'm gonna create a palette. Where white equals white. So this would be palette.white. And should I still export theme? Where is it used? This one should be private maybe, right? Because we shouldn't access it directly. So, but maybe I should do errors one at a time, but where is... So which module is importing app.tsx? Okay, that's why we exported. That makes sense. That's fair. Should be private, but I guess we can't do it. Because yeah. Or actually no, we could. So let's make it private for safety. And then we can export the theme provider. Export theme provider. Children. And theme provider from Restyle. Of course, here Restyle theme provider. React must be in scope. That's fair. React from React. And here, so we don't import theme anymore, but theme provider. That's good. And so this one, so we made the theme private. Okay, so now let's fix the colors. So background becomes white. So this is where TypeScript is really, I mean, if not, you have no chance, right? Because these are strings. Sometimes we use it from the theme. So up. Okay. Okay, but so that's interesting because TypeScript is not complaining anymore, but there is still an error, which is somehow not statically caught. Is that possible? Favorite outfits. So why this error is not catch? Primary. Huh. So it can be something is. That's interesting. Here it can be any value. So to be investigated, but we'll probably have it in other places. And type of theme. So definitely need to be investigated. I guess I have the error in other places. Wow.
A few moments later.
All right, so we fixed the issue, but you see, like, there were a lot of so basically background color is not statically properly typed. So here you have this object, and I'm really not sure why. Key off, colors, responsive value. So I need to investigate. There is some issue here. And so that took a while. I think I'm gonna, and we still need to refactor quite some colors, right? So I mean, we have background. Okay, now we have these, which actually I'm happy to add some semantic to. This one with primary light, that's okay. These we will move into palette. Can we do it now? But I'm just scared because these are, I think before refactoring these elements, I want to make sure the background color, so I can really rely on TypeScript to do these refactorings, because if not, it doesn't make sense. You have to grep, and so yeah. All right. So there was a little bit of Octopus massaging. We made some improvements on the existing code. There is much more to do, and we are gonna also tackle some new screens in the next videos. So I am looking forward to talk to you soon, and in the meantime, happy hacking.